My name is Mark Ellis and I'm the Head of Visitor Experience here at the National Memorial Arboretum. The Arboretum is the UK's year-round centre of remembrance. We're 150 acres of young woodland, and in amongst those woodlands are 400 memorials dedicated to those that have served and sacrificed on behalf of our nation. Visitors come from all over the place to visit the Arboretum, some of them with a very specific reason. They wish to remember those that have served and sacrificed on their behalf, others just to enjoy 150 acres of beautiful woodland. And what we do try and make sure is that we give people a great experience when they're here on site and tell some of the stories that make the memorials so special. The start of 2020 was a very strange time. Initially we heard of this thing, coronavirus, COVID-19, and we weren't sure what it was going to be. And we started doing some contingency planning, and completely honestly, it felt like an exercise, a mitigation exercise, business continuity, but probably wouldn't really affect us. Then at the end of March, when, as with everybody else, we were forced to close, it was a massive impact, and really did take us just a little while to fully understand the impact that was going to have on all of us. We were very keen to make sure we looked after our staff and volunteers, and that was right at the height of our priority when we first closed. So as well as offering support to them, we just tried to make sure we had clear communications, let them know what was happening, and while they were at home, contacting them regularly and making sure that people were comfortable with what we were trying to do for them. And then we have around 250 to 300 volunteers helping us here at the Arboretum, very much the lifeblood of the organisation. They tell the stories and make the place come alive for our visitors. So we made sure we looked after them. One of the first things we did was we set up a private Facebook group where we could all get together, share our experiences, look after each other, and just keep those communication channels alive while we couldn't be back together on site. As an outdoor site, we were very fortunate to be able to reopen at the start of June last year, and of course that brought with it a whole host of new challenges. And as a management team, we thought very carefully about what we were going to do. I was very keen that we didn't just rush into things. I was very keen we didn't plan for every eventuality that might not happen. So we just took a step back, we waited, and then our mantra all through that was doing what was permitted, safe and sensible. So once something was permitted, we then make sure we put safe plans in place. If that felt like it was going to deliver the right visitor experience and it was sensible to do so, then we'd do that. When we first reopened, we knew just being open was enough. We didn't worry too much about additional content, as people were just delighted to be out and about again. But as the summer developed, we knew that we wanted to remind people what a special place the Arboretum is and to give them an opportunity to carry out activities on site. So we looked at new opportunities, and one of the ones we were very proud of was an escape challenge. We knew how popular escape rooms have become. We have an open area, so we took the escape room philosophy and applied it to a series of challenges in amongst the memorials, very authentic, and that really did prove popular with people. The other thing it did for us internally is we made it a paid-for activity. A lot of what we deliver on site is free, and originally Escape Challenge was going to be a free activity. But we realised that we couldn't go out and attract lots and lots of people to the site because we were capacity constrained. So we put a charge on it, we upped the quality of the material that surrounded us a little bit, put a charge on it, and taught ourselves that actually people really are prepared to pay for added activity while they're here on site, and that's an important lesson that will definitely stand us in good stead in the future. We had to change many things on site, and catering, restaurant, our food services team really did have some challenges in front of them. We had to close the restaurant for a while, then we moved just to takeaway, and then when we reopened it was table service only. And that created a number of challenges, but Chef really took that as an opportunity. Had a lot of fun creating some new menus, looking at more of a street food style delivery. We could up the ante in the way we presented the food, really explore some different menu options, with the added benefit of reducing food waste. We were fortunate as well that some events we could deliver here on site in a more normal way, and there was an opportunity in December for Illuminated Arboretum, our annual illuminated light trail around the Arboretum, to take place. We couldn't do it in the way we'd done it previously. It was socially distant, so we had to reduce capacity, and also it was slightly less interactive than it had been before. But we worked really hard to make sure that we gave people a fabulous experience. It was a sellout, it was really well received, and just proved to ourselves that you can change things and still deliver exceptional customer experience through doing that. We worked with a lot of our network through last year, and that was so important to us. And both formally, so Visit England were very important to us. We were accredited with the We're Good to Go mark, and very proudly display that. But as well as giving the assurance to the visitor, that came, of course, with a lot of background information, a lot of updates, a lot of guidance, and that was invaluable to us. Maintaining communication with key audiences has been a challenge as well. We're an open site, 150 acres, so normally we're free to enter, so we go out and we say to people, come along, have a great time at the Arboretum. But of course things have changed. We have capacity constraints to make sure we maintain social distancing, so people have to pre-book. So making sure people were aware of that was very, very important to us. But we wanted to build brand engagement. We wanted people to understand what the Arboretum was about. So a lot of our marketing was about marketing the brand rather than the site, saying to people, here's some great stuff we do, you can either do it at home, or if you come along you can do this at the site. And that was a nuanced difference, but an important part of our comm strategy through 2020. One of the great advantages we have in the modern world is, of course, the ability to move things online, and that really has helped us, particularly engaging with younger people. We formally teach around 20,000 people here on site every year, and we put all of those resources available online. People can go onto our website, it's structured, there's lesson plans, there's videos, there's worksheets, and that's been really useful for us. Whilst 2020 was, of course, very difficult for a whole variety of reasons, it did create some opportunities. And one of those was with the major events, we were able to go out and engage with more people. So through using the online facilities, obviously we could engage with people on a wider geographic basis, both internationally as well as in the UK, and also those people that perhaps can't normally get to the site. Remembrance Tide was a great example of that, where our Remembrance Sunday and Armistice Day services, normally on Remembrance Sunday we'd expect to see 4,000 or 5,000 people here on site. Last year, by putting that on Facebook and YouTube and talking about it in the virtual environment, we've had around 200,000 people engage with that video. So it really has broadened our reach through necessity. And as well as reaching more people, we've reached new and different people. So perhaps people that wouldn't normally traditionally join us here at the Arboretum, we've been able to explore those. So younger audiences, audience from different backgrounds, international audiences, particularly audiences across the Commonwealth. The ability for them to engage with our activity is something that will definitely stand us in good stead in the future. There's been some very significant impacts from COVID. I think top of the list there would be the emotional impact on people. As a site, we're open every day apart from Christmas Day, and we know that on any given day of the year, there's a reason for people to come here and spend some time in personal remembrance. And to be closed, of course, has a massive emotional impact on people. And on top of that emotional impact, there's also the financial impact. We were closed for a period of time, as so many businesses have been, and of course that does leave a financial hole in the accounts. And whilst we're confident that we will rebuild and will build a stronger organisation, it certainly puts some budgetary challenges on the road ahead. As a management team, we've worked hard to try and make sure that we've learnt some lessons as well. We're moving into a new world, and it's important that we react to that. And I think one of the things that we've really learnt is just making sure we understand what our team need, and we've become much better listeners. I've certainly become a much better listener. And we've done daily debriefs at the end of each day when we reopened, and just listening to the nuance of what people are saying, understanding what they're trying to tell us, and just tweaking our operations. We've done that far more than we have before, and I think that's made us more effective as a management team. If I was going to offer one tip for how to maximise business when you reopen, I think it's sanitise the site, not the experience. Provide a really clean, good site for people, but then give them a great experience. People want a day out. They really want to get back to enjoying themselves. And if you provide that for them, they're going to love you for it. If we get challenges like this in the future for whatever reason, I think there's some really good advice. And my main piece would be, you've got this, you're good at what you do, you're going to be okay, but don't do it alone. There's lots of other businesses out there in the same situation that you are. Collaborate, work together, take your time, come up with good plans, and then go for it. You'll be fine.